Just got done with the podcast. What time is it? It's 4 in the morning. Told y'all my son was a little sick and stuff like that, so I said, well, I'll while we sleep, I'll just go ahead and just do a quick little story time after the podcast. I've been going crazy on the podcast, y'all. Um, as you can see, I got my Harlem Hellfighter shirt on. Giving ode to Ancient Kimmon and Anthony Browder. Man, I gotta give this story. This was funny. I was just telling one of the folks that one of the brothers I was talking to, I was doing some resume review. I was kind of giving him the lowdown on everything, telling him about a an award show I went to. It was with I won't say what company it was with, but I was doing some tech training for some kids out at a university and stuff, and I got an IT professional award. And in this award, you have the typical thing, especially for like a city in Minneapolis, where you have a bunch of black folks, a lot of like the so-called well-to-do kind of boule crowd. I didn't really know, but they were having like a celebration for the kids, and then they have all these donors and stuff like that. And what ended up happening was you had us all sitting by these tables and things of that nature. And like when I was bringing my wife in and introducing her to people at the time, she was kind of breaking it down, telling me that like some of the black folks was talking to the other younger black people, like, hey, are these people like you? It was some real, like, what I'm saying, boule type of thing, where they were like, oh, are they like you? Or are you going to refer, are they like you? It was like that Barack type stuff, you know what I'm saying? And when we sat down and they started giving out, some of the awards and stuff before that, this is the kicker right here. When they were talking about sponsors and stuff like that, man, they brought up Tom Jordan. Oh man, oh Lord, when he came in, I just was kind of like, and this was kind of around the time. Let me see, this was kind of around the time like I really kind of got into like the new black media, like where I didn't really mess with the dudes real tough, but I pretty much dispelled all the little, the Dysons and the Lamont Shields and all them kind of, I wasn't really into it. I used to just hear them talk, but I was always kind of like, I don't know. But this was before I really kind of got where I was able to just, when I see a bootleg, I'm just, okay. He's a plantation bootleg. You just don't even pay him no mind. You know what I'm saying? He needs to get him out the way. This was before that. But I still was kind of feeling weird going into that award. And, I was telling like my grandmother and family members, I said, I'm going to get this little award. I was real nonchalant about it or whatever. I'm just like, whatever. Because I'm not into that Negro symbolism really in the first, I wasn't really into that. So I was telling them, I said, I'm gonna get a little award. I'm gonna go to this little thing. Oh, well, everybody got to be there and they got to support. And I'm like, at first I wasn't gonna go, and I said, I don't really think y'all understand what kind of Negroes you dealing with. And I didn't really know that until I actually went up in there and got them around. Man, they had Tom Joyner up in there, and that nigga started singing. Man, I was like, I want to laugh. And then what really kind of kicked it in for me is they had I don't know if she was on the Supreme Court, but at the time, the optics looked like it wasn't too bad. But when I look back in hindsight and listen to the psychology around it, they had this black judge. And so she started kind of finger wagging. So they basically got a mammy to basically, now remind you, all these kids were suited and booted. They were going into IT programs. These weren't like no, um, to my knowledge, these weren't necessarily no felony kids that was out there looking for the options, smoking on their dead homies, and they was on their way to Julie Hall and all. That wasn't the understanding I got. Some of these kids that I seen that was suited and booted looked like they was kids just trying to get into IT. So she got on there wagging her finger about, well, you don't never want to see me. And if you see me, it'll be the last thing you do, and stuff like that. And then this old so-called empowering, well, you need to be positive and all that. And I'm like, if this is a tech program, 9 times out of 10, young street kids is really in the street, they not going to be in that area anyway. They not even going to be exposed to that because they out there trapping. They out there trapping and they slinging that iron, so they're not really going to be involved in that at all. There's really no reason to even bring that up. Well, if you see me, I mean, it was real mammy-ish. I'm going to be honest with y'all, it was so mammy-ish. It was straight plantation mammy-ish. And I, at the time, when I'm just looking at it, I'm just like, oh, so when I went back to some of my folks, I was kind of telling them about what happened. But I really didn't understand the psychology around it. I was just kind of watching it. And when they gave me the microphone and I started talking, and at that same time I was still kind of in that, kind of playing it down a little bit, I could kind of tell this was one of them environments where it was like, don't rock the boat too much, kind of tap dance a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It was one of them kind of things. And although I didn't do that, I kept a real sweet, short and sweet. It was one of them environments I could see. I could see it was just real. It was real tap dancey. What Umar say? System engineer, internship, in training, managed service, network engineer to the second to the third place. It was really like that. It was like one of these high profile, I'm title after title after title after title, but I'm just a nigga type stuff. It was really like that. And when I got off the microphone and I kind of said my piece, like, hey, I'm trying to help black folks get hired or whatever, and things of that nature, a lot of people are coming up to me. One thing I didn't have was a business card. That's one thing I did not have. I didn't have a business card. So it was a couple people I had exchanged information through phone numbers and all that kind of stuff, like real rudimentary old school. But yeah, y'all, I'm gonna post a picture of that. I'm gonna post a picture of the awards. It was some younger guys when I went through the Microsoft Imagine Academy when I was kind of instructing at Metro State University. It was some a young kid that we got a scholarship, a certification scholarship for him, and me and his dad and the kid took a picture and stuff. And I told him, email me if you have any issues. I lost contact with him, but he was very happy about that program. But man, I got to keep it 100. It was like over the top. It was super over the top when it came to like that boule kind of stuff. I mean, it was like embarrassing over the top. Like, y'all ain't even got to do all that. Yeah, I mean, man, it was, and the thing, and that's the thing that y'all got to understand about like Minnesota. Minnesota, I could tell, was one of those places where some black folks came up from here and migrated and totally forgot about their roots. They totally forgot, and they figured that, well, in the transfer of a dollar, they got their occupation and they never looked back to the South. That's just my analysis. Just looking back in hindsight of 40 years of being in the state of Minnesota, man, you could tell that a good percentage of these Negroes up here, if they could have left some of us on the plantation for them to get a nice paying gig, yeah, we would be down in Mississippi to this day. I'm just gonna be totally honest. That's my optics on it. But I wanted to be honest on that, man. Um, we have, not everybody, man, but we really, because a lot of us ain't even from here. Most black folks is from the surrounding cities and stuff like that. It ain't like, you know, I think Gordon Parks was from St. Paul. If you know who Gordon Parks was, if you really from Minnesota, you should know. If you don't know who Gordon Parks is, I ain't even really gonna expound. I'll just tell you that he was the cameraman's cameraman. If you don't know no better than that, you really ain't. You're not from Minnesota. You wouldn't really know the history, and I don't think you really give a damn, to expound on it, because that's something you should know. That's what I think. Me being a Minnesotan, I think that's something you ought to know. But oh man, and we was in Bloomington, Minnesota at the time. It was cold that day. Uh, when I was trying to find a place, it was kind of rough figuring out where things were and stuff like that. And it was kind of close to a place where I used to work. But man, I'm telling you, these Negroes were something else. I mean, it was like the NAACP today. It was like that. It was like the NAACP today, and it was like the Crying Negro Network. It was like, see, it was some Van Jones type stuff and some old View type bullshit. Like it was them type of niggas. I'm just gonna keep it 100. It was one of them. It was one of them, and it was back to back. It was a back to back. It was some real ones in there too. It was some real ones in there too. It was a few, but those were the chosen few where, you pulling up to the side and you could just tell. You could just look at them. You could look at their demeanor. You could look at their demeanor. You could just kind of tell. It only took a few seconds. You just catch your eyes. You go, oh, okay, yeah, you one of us. But I was surrounded, and I was trying to tell my family members. I said, I don't think y'all understand where I'm going, what kind of Negroes you're dealing with, and I didn't understand that until I got up in there. But yeah, man, like I said, I ain't going. I'll say this: the place used to be. It was supposed to be specifically for black folk. That was the initial name. I'll say that. I'm not gonna say the organization. But then it became this old people of color, old, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we just need some extra butter biscuits and all that. Black folks can't never have shit themselves. They can't never get stand on business themselves. Well, we got to include everyone else and disenfranchise. Man, I wish I had some footage. I'm gonna post a picture, man. I'm gonna post a picture. There's some story time for your ass here. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Um, Make sure that you hit the notification bell, because people, they starting to unsubscribe me. I don't know. I'm only 70 subscribers in. I think that's kind of weird. I don't know what's up with YouTube. I'm only 70 subscribers in. They unsubscribing people already. I'm like, well, damn, did I done say something? I don't know. Maybe I done said something, but make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. And we'll go into more story time into my journal, because I don't know. There's some other things that's going to have to be said. I'm going to have to dig up some of them skeletons. So, y'all chill out.